Close your eyes and think about women's tennis. Think about the biggest stars you've ever seen in women's tennis in the last 20, 30 years. Well, we can't guess all of the names that might come up in your mind, but we can say for sure that Serena Williams is one of them. The superstar tennis player recently announced her retirement, and in this video, we'll review her decision to retire and the factors that were involved. First things first, I just needed to stop, says Serena Williams. Serena Jamaica Williams turned pro in October of 1995, and since then, she has been picking up wins and accolades like nobody's business. Her career in the higher echelons of women's tennis spans over 2 decades, which is a long time. To remain competitive at the top of a sport like tennis, it's bound to take a toll on you physically and mentally. It also takes a toll on your personal relationships and your social life, as you have to spend almost every day of your life training. It leaves very little time for you to spend with your family. In a recent interview, Serena Williams said she felt like she needed to stop playing tennis. She mentioned that she always wanted to stop playing good tennis and winning matches. Williams, who recently celebrated her 41st birthday, finally called it a day on her glittering tennis career after the 2022 US Open. Explaining her decision, she cited that she's at a time in her life when she just needs to pay attention to things other than tennis. Moving on, there's life other than tennis. Serena Williams talks motherhood. In a recent interview, Williams said that her decision to retire is about other things like being spiritual and paying more attention to her family life. She said that she would like to spend more time with her daughter, which she hasn't been able to do in a long time. The 23-time Grand Slam winner called herself a very involved mother, which is why ever since her daughter was born, she's found it very hard to remain competitive on the court. She mentioned that many of her losses on the court were down to the fact that from the inside, she didn't want to be playing and would rather be with her daughter. Serena said that it felt like she has devoted all of her life and everything she had to tennis, which she doesn't want to do anymore. Speaking of the pressures of motherhood, she mentioned that it's often hard to see from the outside, but everything is completely different when you actually become a parent yourself. She wants to focus on being a full-time parent. Next up, marriage and giving birth to her daughter, Olympia. Serena Williams has been married to one of the founders of social media platform Reddit, Alexis Ohanian. According to reports, Ohanian proposed to her back in December of 2016, after which their engagement was officially announced by Serena in a social media post. The couple got married at the end of the following year in November 2017, in a reception that was attended by many celebrities, including Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, and Kelly Rowland. In September of 2017, just prior to her long-awaited wedding, Serena gave birth to her daughter, who they named Alexis Olympia Ohanian Jr. Her daughter, commonly referred to as Olympia, was born after a series of medical complications during the course of Serena's pregnancy. In a remarkable revelation, it was announced in April of 2017 that Serena was 20 weeks pregnant, which meant that she had won the 2017 Australian Open while being 8 months pregnant. Olympia's birth was quite complicated, as she had to be delivered through an emergency cesarean section surgery because her heart rate started to drop while Serena was in labor. Serena also suffered from numerous complications, including pulmonary embolism after the birth, and she was bedridden for about 6 weeks and had to remain hospitalized for a while. And Serena subsequently revealed that she had been suffering from postpartum depression. Continuing on, how will the tennis world remember Serena Williams? Those who know tennis regard Serena Williams as one of the greatest, if not the greatest tennis player of all time. In a survey conducted by BBC Sports among its user base in 2017, the American superstar was voted as the greatest women's tennis player in the Open era. She was also selected by a panel at tennis.com as the greatest women's tennis player in 2018. Her heroics on the court make her a great role model for any young boy or girl who wants to take up sports as a career. Roger Federer, while speaking of Williams in 2018, said that Serena has the best case for being the greatest of all time in men or women's tennis. After being named the Associated Press Female Athlete of the Decade for the 2010s, in 2019, she was also rated as the greatest women's tennis player of all time by the Tennis Channel in 2020. Her popularity can be gauged by the fact that she is the most tweeted about women's athlete of all time, according to a recent announcement by Twitter. Serena is a 23-time Grand Slam winner, most by a player in the Open era, including 7 Australian Open titles, 3 French Open titles, 7 Wimbledon titles, and 6 US Open titles. Incredibly, she was ranked number 1 in the world in singles by the Women's Tennis Association for 319 weeks, which includes a joint record of 186 consecutive weeks being the number 1. Next, Serena Williams says she can come whenever she wants. Speaking in a recent interview, the 7-time Wimbledon winner said that she can come back to playing tennis whenever she wants to. She said that physically, there's nothing that would stop her from playing tennis, and she can still play at a very top level. Serena had been away from tennis for a whole year before she returned to singles tennis at Wimbledon. Despite being out of the game for a while, Williams returned to practice where she was able to train at at a very high intensity in preparation for this year's US Open. Her performance at the US Open was comparatively better as she reached the third round, beating second seed Anett Kontaveit in the run. Although Serena lost a 3-set game to Alja Tomljanovic in the third round, many were impressed with her performance. It felt like she was finally building up momentum after losing a long spell out of tennis. So it came as a real surprise for everyone when she announced her retirement. Everyone thought that the American tennis star had some tennis left in her, a thought with which Serena tends to agree with herself. Well, we're not sure if Williams will be coming back to tennis in the future or if she'll reserve her time just for family and personal life, but we wish her all the best for whatever she ends up doing in her life. It's been a pleasure seeing you on the tennis court. And now, let's take a look at some other news. Before we leave, let's take a look at some other news from the tennis world. First up, Stefanos Tsitsipas make a strong start at the Astana Open. Stefanos has already won 2 tour-level titles this season and is looking to win a third one at the Astana Open in Kazakhstan. He started off the tournament with a strong display as he beat Mikhail Kukushkin from Kazakhstan in straight sets to book his place in the second round. This is the first time Stefanos is taking part in the Astana Open. Despite being his first appearance, he settled in quite quickly and secured a comfortable win in just 83 minutes. Next up, Kyrgios looking for assault charges to be dropped over mental health issue. In July, Nick Kyrgios was indicted and charged with common assault. However, the Australian's legal team has argued in court that the player has serious mental health issues in an attempt to get the charges against him dismissed. Nick was accused by his ex-girlfriend, Chiara Passari, in December of 2021 of allegedly mistreating her. If Kyrgios is convicted, could be handed a prison sentence of up to 2 years. And the judge at the Australian court has agreed for an assessment to be done of the athlete's mental health and adjourned the court trial until February of 2023. Moving on, women's world number 1, Iga Swiatek, will not play the Billie Jean Cup finals. The world number 1, who went on a 37-match winning streak earlier this year, has criticized the scheduling of upcoming tennis events. Swiatek was planning to represent Poland in the Billie Jean Cup finals, scheduled to start in Glasgow on the 8th of November. However, the WTA finals taking place in Texas are scheduled to the end of the day before. As a result, Swiatek would not be able to take part in the Glasgow event. Quite unhappy about the scheduling, the world number 1 said that she is very sad to miss out on the event. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. We would love to hear from you. What are your feelings about the world of women's tennis without Serena Williams in it? Let us know in the comment section. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for all the latest news in town. And we'll see you in the next video.